Good afternoon. It's Kinninigan. I'm going to go through something very quickly here. Now, the other day, in my defense, I put out the whole reason of all the events that are happening out in Minnesota mainly have to deal, or Minneapolis, whatever it is, had to do with the idea of Rex 84, where Trump could possibly invoke the Insurrection Act and then proceed to take quote unquote domestic terrorists, who quite honestly are going to be people like me, people the Freemason don't like, and take us to Camp FEMA so they could start executing people and begin to start the New World Order, which is going to require, yes, they want to kill off about 90% of the world's population because humans, they will not allow us to evolve. People like me who have the ability to go on a YouTube video and tell you exactly what the hell is going on are people that are not welcome in the New World Order. Let's just put it that way. We're too smart for our own good. And why am I showing you a picture of Greenland? I'm going to tell you exactly why Trump is talking about wanting Greenland. I'm going to be going through a few different conspiracies here. And these are things that I've been covering for many years. This is just a preview. I probably would like to do a whole lecture on this entire thing. But I'm telling you right now, nobody else has figured this out. Just like I did a YouTube search, no one else on YouTube has figured out the Rex 84 thing, what's happening with ice out there, and the fact that there was a T-Rex on a car right where the ICE officer was. And I told you that the whole thing was a Masonic fucking clown show. You have Freemason. The mayor of that city is a Freemason. Tim Walz is a Freemason. Half of Trump's cabinet are Freemason or Zionists. Same fucking thing. By the way, when I say Zionist, I want you to know that Zionist basically means pagan. That's what the New World Order is going to be. And this is very important also. Many years ago, I put out for example, did you ever wonder why NASA names all their space programs or space missions after Greek gods? That is because when they start the New World Order, they are going to go back to the Greek pantheon of gods. And also, Rome. Yeah, you are in the Roman Empire, in case you did not know. So here's where I'm going to go through some conspiracies here. And why exactly Trump wants Greenland. So I'm going to go through this quickly. Please share, like, subscribe. I'm pretty upfront with asking for support for my channel. I do not use AdSense. Um, I do need stuff. I need marijuana. I'm not going to lie about it. I have cigarettes right now, which is good. And I have food, which is good. And I have cat food, but I do need marijuana. I don't get to smoke as much as I would like. I'm not living large like Snoop Dogg, or I would be smoking. I'm a lot better when I smoke every day. I don't get as angry. This is why I had to wait till the afternoon to make this video. I go through the morning news, and it just infuriates me because I see all the Masonic bullshit going on. I made a video the other day. I had to take it down. And that was my fault. Maybe I shouldn't have said that I wanted to go to Israel and piss on the Wailing Wall and host the Holy Land down in pig's blood to chase all the Muslims out. But hey, whatever. Yeah. It is the truth, though. So why does Trump want Greenland? I'm going to go through this quite quickly. And I'm also going to be answering a sub's question. Someone asked me if I knew Roger from Mud Fossil University. I know Roger very well. And part of this conspiracy is from something I actually learned from Roger and something that I taught to Roger about his theory about something. And that has to do with Tartarus and the Titans of all things and the Dragon of Morocco. So I'm going to go through this quite quickly. Now, the videos are on my channel if you're curious. But many years ago, there was an author. I don't have it pulled up right now. All right, not a big deal. But they're on my channel. It's called Rome and the Greenland Theory. It was written by an author called David Chase. You can get this book on Google for free. You can download it. It's called Rome and the Greenland Theory, and he makes the case that the Roman Empire never died. This is why our national logo is the eagle, which is also the symbol of the Alpha Draconian Empire, the Alpha Draconian reptilians. And this is why in World War II, the Nazis also used the same eagle. So, like I said, I'm going through a few different conspiracies here very quickly. And these are just things that are right in your front of your face that most people don't even question. So, Rome never actually died. What they did was Rome at one time during the Middle Ages, you know how they said we're missing that 1,000 years of history? And, they can't account for it. Well, the Roman Empire never died. They moved their headquarters to Greenland. And that's what Rome and the Greenland theory is. The flag of Greenland is the international symbol of power. Now, why Greenland? I'll get to that part of the conspiracy. This, that part of it should blow your mind, actually, because, so basically, Rome never died. The headquarters is in Greenland. And if you watch my Rome and Greenland theory videos, I will even show you there is something in Greenland known as the Greenland anomaly, which is a very large structure that is under the ice in Greenland. And who actually controls Greenland right now? Denmark? Yeah, that is Illuminati aristocracy. These are the members of the Illuminati you do not hear about. They're not on TV. They're not on fucking Fox News. They're not presidents like Trump that are very famous. The real Illuminati you do not hear about. People have heard of the Rothschilds, Jacob Rothschild, obviously, the godfather of Israel of all things. Yeah, we see how that. And so basically, the theory is this is where the Alpha Draconians are. And because the Alpha Draconians' seat of power isn't physical power, it's metaphysical. They rule the occult and secret societies and black magic. So if you go through my, I have 4 videos on here. Rome and the Greenland Theory Part 1, where I go over the conspiracy. Rome and the Greenland Theory Part 2, how they control religions. Right now you have Christians versus Muslims going on right now in America. That's what the whole fucking Somali thing's about. Secret societies. Yeah, that topic always gets me in trouble. That's how they control the different countries. There are 212 countries in the Roman Empire, and they all have Masonic lodges in them. Hello? Or other secret societies like the Jesuits, Knights of Columbus, Knights of Malta, Order of the Garter. It goes on and on. Part 4 is underground cities. I covered that. And then there was going to be a 5th video I was going to do in this series, but I decided not to do it because YouTube will community guideline strike that one. That one was going to be about social engineering. Specifically, the latest social engineering they were engaged in is what is known as the woke movement. And basically what the woke movement was, it was an attack on natural women, real women. This is why real women were replaced with transgenders in all movies, TV shows, video games recently. The people rejected it. Hence the term go woke, go broke, because people are like, what are all these fucking ugly women doing in movies and TV? They're not women, they're men. Transgender. Yeah, the whole tranny. I'm going to get t-shirts made saying I survived the 2020 tranny wars. How does that sound? We got to have a sense of humor when you cover this stuff. And there's other videos I made on Rome and the bull called a Mithra. And there's more Roman symbolism right at the New York Stock Exchange where you have a bull. Yeah, that goes to Roman bull cults. And the occult power of Rome and the Vatican. I'm Catholic. So please don't preach to me about what the hell goes on in the Vatican. I know a lot, okay, about secret societies and the Vatican. Yeah, so I don't need a lecture on what the Vatican is up to. I'm well aware of it. Here's where things start getting disturbing. We hear Trump wanting Greenland, of all things. What the fuck does he want Greenland for? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'll get to that last. But here's what really got under my nerve. Trump announces Now he wants to build a quote unquote triumphal arch monument in Washington, D.C., beginning within 2 months. I'm going to give you a little history lesson on ancient Rome right now. Do you know what a triumphal arch is? When a military general in Rome went on a military campaign, because they were an imperial, at that time, empire who conquered lands. For example, when they first conquered Albion, which is modern day Britain, as you know it, they set up the city of Londinium, which just happens to fall on a ley line. They knew exactly where, and every city in Europe is on a ley line. The Romans knew this. This ties in with the occult knowledge of the Illuminati themselves. And this is why all major cities have quote unquote Masonic lodges in them. Okay. I'm in Philadelphia, highly occultic city. I know that. So a triumphal arch is when a military general in ancient Rome had a military victory, or in this case, kicks off the New World Order. They would come back to Rome and they would have a triumphant parade, and in their honor, they would have a triumphal arch built. This is why in Washington, D.C., going into Rome and the Greenland theory again, why you have Roman architecture in our capital of the United States of America, why our national logo is the Roman eagle. Uh, yeah, you get the idea. So why does Trump want to build a quote-unquote triumphal Roman arch in Washington, D.C.? They were only built for military generals who were triumphant on a military campaign in ancient Rome. And the reason why it was an arch is the arch is that's an architectural feature. You know, the arch, it allowed them to build the Colosseum of all things because you could build buildings very tall. Some symbolism right there because Trump is a quote unquote a builder of all things. He built skyscrapers in Manhattan. We all know that. So the arch is what allowed them to build buildings higher in ancient Rome because when you use arches, it takes less concrete and you can build structures higher. The arches are held together by something called a keystone. That's a very Masonic password right there. I'm in Pennsylvania. We're known as the Keystone State of all things. We have the Grand Masonic Lodge here. And there's not a coincidence that. And then take, for example, more Masonic history of the United States of America. Remember the North versus South thing? That was the kind of the old school way of keeping people divided in America. At that time, you're a Southerner. I'm a Yankee. You're a Southerner. The Civil War. But what separated the North from the South? The Mason-Dixon line. Mason. So why the fuck is Trump building an arch in Washington, D.C.? Because that only signifies a quote-unquote military victory. Now, I'm telling you right now, the shit going on in Iran, Venezuela, Colombia, it's all bullshit. There are Masonic lodges in every one of those countries. Maduro is a Freemason. The Shah of Iran is a Freemason. They're playing fucking Masonic games, okay? Nobody's conquering anyone. It's all bullshit. But what will happen is mass human sacrifice, and that's what they want. Nothing is built unless it's built on top of human sacrifice. That's what the victory was of a military victory in ancient Rome. It means we spilled a lot of blood and we killed a lot of humans. And, this is how they would build arches and what they were built for in ancient Rome. It was the same. So, is this arch being built as a symbol of kicking off the quote-unquote New World Order? I hope not, and I hope I'm not right. Now, another interesting thing. Why did Rome pick Greenland, of all places on Earth, to, hide themselves? Because before Trump was talking about taking Greenland, you never heard about Greenland in the news, and that was the whole thing with Rome and the Greenland theory. Nobody thinks of Greenland. Nobody thinks of attacking Greenland. They don't even need a military. Who's invading Greenland? It's freezing cold there. There's not a lot of people that live there. Here's a pic right here. This is what a typical one of the cities. We do have an air base there. We have a space force there known as the Thule Base. It's very interesting because the Nazis had a secret society known as the Thule Society. Just some more symbolism there for you. But what is in Greenland? Going back to Roger and Mud Fossil University. Yes, I know Roger. Many years ago, Roger put out his video about the Dragon of Morocco, which is this video right here, 7 years ago. That the entire Atlas Mountains in Morocco are actually a dragon, an ancient mud fossil dragon. And me and Roger actually had a phone conversation. On the phone, I gave him my cell phone number. He called me. We had a discussion. I told Roger about ancient Sumerian mythology that talks about Tiamat destroying the dragon during the downfall of Atlantis. And I also told Roger, I said, Roger, you're on to something here. Because this is something that I was trying to solve about the mystery of Tartarus, going back to the Greek pantheon. Tartarus is a hell above Hades. Tartarus was created when the angels fell from heaven and collided with the abyss. Now, this is interesting because the punishments in Tartarus go in cyclical punishments. You have like Siphius. He has to carry a boulder up a hill, and every time he gets to the top, the boulder rolls back down, and he has to do it all over again. Well, you could also look at that as the way that the Earth revolves around the sun 365 days a year. And all the Titans are imprisoned in Tartarus. What is Atlas? He's one of the Titans. In fact, Atlas is the Titan who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders. When I told that to Roger, he's like, Ken, that makes sense. It's called the Atlas Mountains. It looks like a dragon. I showed him the Sumerian tablet that talks about this. The dragon myth of creation is actually the name of, and I think I might have actually read it. It might be on my YouTube channel. The dragon myth of creation. It's a Sumerian tablet, and it talks about. It also talks about a great fish, and Roger also found a fossilized fish in Africa. Remember, Morocco is in Africa. So I told Roger, I said, Roger, I believe what they mean by the Titans being imprisoned in Tartarus is the Titans have become part of the Earth itself. And he's like, that makes sense. Now we're going to go to a little bit more ancient mythology here. This comes from the Native Americans. The entire United States of America and South America and Canada is part of something going back to ancient Native American mythology called Turtle Island. Yes, the entire shape of South America, America, and Canada is a turtle. Now, this is very interesting. Europe and Africa, they actually make an elephant. Has anyone ever seen the ancient Hindu mythology about the planet Earth being on the backs of 4 elephants? That's where that comes from. And yes, it's actually, the Hindu mythology is a turtle on the backs of 4 elephants, if you ever saw it. I didn't pull it up. This is a preview. I'm going to do a whole lecture on this subject because there's a lot to take in with this, okay? But long story short, something else that I learned from Roger was the way he finds all these mud fossils on Earth and giants. One thing that Roger said is, I could tell you exactly where you're going to find large deposits of gold and silver in certain areas where giants have fossilized because of the way that heavy metals in the bodies collect. And he, like, for example, would show like giants that became mountains. They're essentially fossilized giants. And he would say, okay, well, the gold and silver veins are going to be right here. And he's like, I could tell them exactly where to dig and where you're going to find, quote unquote, heavy metals. We have heavy metals in our body. We have iron-based blood, for example. Yes, you do have gold and silver in your body. Very small amounts, but when you are a giant, it turns into very large amounts. One of the areas of the body where large amounts of gold, silver, and precious metals settle is also in the head. And what is Greenland? Greenland is the head of the turtle. And for example, on the west coast of the United States and the east coast, if you did not know, this is where we find very large deposits of gold and silver, hence the gold rush in California. And Roger called that out, like just by what he knows about fossilized giants. It's also not a coincidence that in the exact center of the United States, you have one of the largest cave systems in America known as Mammoth Cave. And what is that? That's quite possibly the fossilized it's basically the intestines of the turtle. Mammoth Cave. Yeah. Try to wrap your head around that one. Florida is one of the feet of the turtle. So is so yeah, it actually makes a shit. How did Native Americans, first of all, how did they even know this? I mean, Native Americans didn't have helicopters or airplanes to go up in the sky and map out the entire. How did they even know it was in the shape of a turtle? Yes, and America was called Turtle Island. So now when I hear Trump wanting Greenland, you know what's in Greenland? Untapped amounts. It's under the ice, obviously. There are very large amounts of gold, silver, palladium, uranium, all types of precious metals. This is probably another reason why Rome or the Illuminati moved their empire to Greenland when they went into hiding. They don't have to mine it, but they own it. And how does the fiat system on, planet Earth work? It's supposed to be backed by gold, supposedly. Yeah, so my thought is when they start the New World Order, they're going to go back to, they'll probably go back to, in ancient Rome, currency was made with metal, coins, to be more specific. They're not going to use fiat money in the New World Order. The fucking fiat money is just Luciferian debt notes, is what I call them. They're actually pieces of witchcraft, if you didn't know that. Um, so this stuff is, I look. One of the last things I do on my channel is fear porn. People know that. I'm not one out here telling you that. You know, that's people for shills like Alex Jones and all the other idiot Masonic and secret society and skull and bone shills that give you fear porn all the time. I don't do that. But there's just too many things that are going on right now to, and I'm probably the only one figuring this out, as far as I know. Maybe David Chase is the one who wrote Rome and the Greenland Theory. He might have figured it out. But this is me taking the work of a few other people, like Roger from Mud Fossil University and the Turtle Island Theory, and David Chase, who wrote Rome and the Greenland Theory, and of course, my knowledge of Alpha Draconia reptilians and the Illuminati, of all things, and ancient Sumeria. So I'm a little scared. And this is actually worrying me. It wasn't until Trump announced and I found out that he was building a triumphal arch in Washington, D.C. I said, you know what? You can't make this shit up. Like, this is. Yeah. Why can't we build something American? Why has it got to be a Roman? That is a Roman arch. Call it whatever you want. If you're ever in a city and you see a Roman arch like that, they're all over Europe. That means that Rome has conquered that basically every country in Europe. Also, if you see an obelisk in your city, that is not an Egyptian obelisk. That is actually a Roman gladius, meaning that you have been conquered by the Roman Empire. What do you think the Washington Monument is? By the way, the Washington Monument, you might not know this, is actually 666 feet tall from base to tip. That's because part of it is underground. And at the very top of the Washington Monument, there is a Latin quote on it, going back to the Roman Empire. It says, Laus Deo, on top of the Washington Monument, which in Roman and Latin means praise be unto God, or the gods they worship, the reptilians. Yeah, the more you know. This is why all your medical and legal terms are in Latin. Um, this is why, like a lot of things, like posse comitatus is a Latin phrase. Yeah, it's just the Roman Empire never died. They went into hiding because they figured out that they could not continue just with the imperialism of conquering new lands, that they would give people the freedom, the illusion of freedom, but they would have their secret societies control the countries, and they're getting exposed every day from people like me, and yeah, they're probably cursing the hell out of me. This is probably why I'm always anyway. So there's just too many weird things going on. If you want to watch the Rome and the Greenland theory videos, they're on my YouTube channel. Of course, you got Trump now saying he wants to build a triumphal Roman arch in Washington, D.C. This was only done for military generals who, like I said, won a military campaign. Yeah, so read between the symbolism on that one. And then, of all things, Greenland. Greenland, the other place on Earth that probably has unlimited amounts of precious metals is obviously Antarctica. Who's to say we're not mining the metals there? We don't know what the fuck is going on in Antarctica. The 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 conspiracy is you can't even step foot on Antarctica unless you're a Freemason or an Eastern Star. That means work in Antarctica, like at the stations they have down there. They're all Freemason or Eastern Stars because of some things are hiding down there. It's not, and no, it is not the ice wall on flat Earth. Okay. Now there is something else that I could pull up about the Freemason if you just want me to, but according to Masonic teachings, the Earth is a globe. If you did not know, I'm not going to even argue about that. I have Masonic literature bookmarked that basically says the Earth is a globe. So just please stop with that. Um, because a lot of flat earthers have saw that pic of the Hindu ancient mythology about the turtle sitting on the backs of four elephants. That's where this mythology comes from. The idea of Turtle Island, if you did not know. Now, I did a live stream where I covered Turtle Island before, but I'm not re-uploading a lot of my old live streams on the YouTube because obviously they were done around a time where a lot of people were getting banned off YouTube for certain things, and when I do those live streams, I'm always interacting with subs, and there's just different things that we would talk about that's going on, like at the present time. So, like, I would do a lecture and maybe talk about things that were. So, a lot of those live streams, I'm not going to re-upload because I was talking about things I don't, aren't relevant for today. But I would like to redo them. And I think I should do an entire lecture on this theory I just gave you about why Trump really wants Greenland, what the hell is really going on, and why this actually could be them trying to start their new world order finally. And for example, user familiar, the last video I did was the one about Rex 84. Yeah, no one else has figured that one out yet. And I guarantee you, I'm probably the first one that figured this out about Rome, Greenland, the Triumphal Arch in Washington, D.C., Rex 84, the plan to basically execute Christians, let's be honest. That's who they want to execute. Why? Because they want to bring back paganism. What does paganism do? Well, it puts human civilization back about 5,000 fucking years. That's what it does. And that's what the Illuminati wants. Because they feed off negative energy. They don't want smart, intelligent people. We need some divine intervention here. And ultimately, the goal of the New World Order is to usher in the Antichrist of all things. if we see the Jews start rebuilding the third temple, we really got shit to worry about, and wouldn't I wouldn't doubt it because we all know that Israel is running our U.S. government right now, and it's pretty damn scary. And when I say Zionist is not anti-Semitic. When I say Zionist, it basically means pagan. Zionists go to temples. We're Christians. We go to churches. Pagans go to temples. Masonic, you have Masonic temples, right? You have the Temple of Solomon. That's where that comes from. Anything regarding to temples comes from the Temple of Solomon, who was basically the godfather of black magic. King Solomon was a magi. What do you think MAGA means? MAGA is another word for magi. Yes, I know this. I was only defending Trump for the past 5 years because we heard that he was going to be taking down pedophiles, and it hasn't happened yet. There have been zero arrests of anyone from the deep state. We all know that. And now they're just orchestrating chaos. Why are they bringing up chaos? Chaos is a Greek god. What did I tell you? They're going to bring back the Greek pantheon of gods. Chaos is a primordial Greek deity. In fact, it's Chaos, Gaia, Eros, and Tartarus are the four primordial Greek gods. I told you about the history of Tartarus just now. You have Eros, who's the goddess of love. They don't like invoking that goddess. I wonder why. You have Gaia. You all know who Gaia is. It's another name for Mother Earth. And of course, chaos. And everywhere you turn on the news, what are you hearing said? Chaos, chaos, chaos breaking out. Yeah, they're doing this on purpose. The Roman Empire is basically a rebranding of the Babylonian Empire. The reptilians just gave themselves different names. In Rome, he's known as Zeus. Or no, I'm sorry. In Greek, he's known as Zeus. In Rome, he's known as Jupiter. The same god. um, I think you get the idea. Eros, well, Venus would be the Roman equivalent to Aphrodite. Is the so they're like the same gods and goddesses, except there's a little bit. I did a lecture on the gods of Mount Olympus. Um, that I can re-upload to YouTube because the gods of Mount Olympus are quite interesting because they are actually Zeta Reticulans. And that's very interesting because the Zeta Reticulans are the archons in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Yeah. Um, there's been many theories that the Zeta Reticulans have been working with the Alpha Draconians, but it's really like when you summon demons in occult ritual, you're summoning alien grace. That's what you're summoning. I know. A lot of conspiracy to take in there, right? I said, this is why I don't expect anyone to, if you could wrap your mind around all this at once, we need to hang out because your great minds think alike, right? Um, this is one of the reasons why I have to, I'm better off. I have, like, I call it ADHD, but my brain moves like a million miles an hour, and the only way I can slow down and focus on things is by smoking. So, no, I'm not going to quit. Otherwise, I become very hyperactive and very, that's not good. Then I can't concentrate on anything. You want to support the channel? I just gave you a conspiracy you're not going to hear anywhere else, and it's kind of frightening. I'm just going to call this video why Trump really wants, yeah, a triumphal arch. Yeah, how ironic that Trump would build it, right? Interesting. Symbolism will be their downfall, right? So yeah, Trump wants to build. When they begin construction on this? That's another interesting number, 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Well, when you add up all the numbers in 250, you get 7. 7 is the number of completion in the occult. So, is the American experiment completed? I don't know. But I do know Roman history. It's one. Yeah, there goes the Washington Monument. That is a Roman gladius. If you did not know, that's what the obelisk actually. It's not an Egyptian obelisk. It's a Roman gladius. And this is why everywhere down in Washington D.C. you see Latin everywhere and Roman architecture. Okay, not hard to figure out. By the way, the flag of Greenland is the international symbol of power. By the way, in case you did not know, they don't need a military. The Alpha Draconians do not rule through physical force. They are not 1,200-pound velociraptors. They rule through the occult and black magic. This is how they infiltrated Atlantis. They didn't do it with physical. They didn't fight the Atlanteans in hand-to-hand combat. They deceived some Atlanteans into engaging into blood magic. And hence, there goes, watch the lectures I did on Roman and Greenland theory. I go into great detail about it, but yeah, that's why he wants Greenland. This is where Rome is hiding. And there, without a doubt, is it. Greenland is untapped when it comes to natural resources. Very, very large amounts of gold, silver, palladium, platinum, uranium. And again, that's knowledge that I got from Roger at Mud Fossil University because he's done many lectures. He puts up videos every day where he's talking about different things. So I saw a few of his videos where he talks about that, how to find gold and silver deposits where titans or giants have fossilized and where the heavy metals would pour. Like, this is why you find gold in veins. Yeah, it's a play on words, I know. Or is it? Roger goes into great detail about that stuff. So, strange world we live in, right? So yeah, that's why you're hearing about Greenland all of a sudden. It's the head of the turtle. And if that is true, there's just like there were large amounts of gold in the eastern and western parts of the turtle, there's going to be massive amounts of precious metals in the head or the brain of the turtle. Yeah, the world. Let's see if I can get a picture. Yeah, here goes the Native American mythology. They got the Hindu one. I'm not gonna do a search on it right now. If it comes up here, but that's where that mythology comes from. The legend of Turtle Island and the head of the turtle, yeah, is Greenland. And Trump's building a triumphal arch, which is only built for Roman generals who have great military victories. Well, for the Illuminati, if you can send Christians to Camp FEMA and execute them, that'll get you a triumphal arch now, won't it? And then what'll happen is these idiots will invoke the Antichrist. The Antichrist will deceive them, kill them all. This is why I call Zionists a bunch of idiots. This is in prophecy in the Bible, by the way. Yeah, what does the Antichrist do when he's invoked? He deceives all the Jews and kills them all. And then Jesus comes back, and the rest is history, right? That's why I can't stand Zionists and Luciferians. Or whatever. Whoever said being demonically controlled made you intelligent, because it doesn't. These people are disgusting, if you ask me. That's a good word for it. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, all the links are in the description. I'll give a lecture about all this. I can go into great detail about all the different things I went into, but that's kind of the gist of it. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Take care, and God bless.